Barry's at the Hockey Alberta office. Barry, have you got any questions or thoughts to share?
No, actually, Wally, I was just trying to put some thoughts together, but I listened to a podcast yesterday, and I was just trying to look for it. It's by Peter Brown, and it's called Making It Stick, the Science of Successful Learning. And he talked about something called interleaved training. And similar to what we're all talking about, I've been through the experience of, learning what small area games are and what they can end up doing and how they can affect kids, and made a few notes, so I'll just sort of read it because it's easier than me trying to spin my way through it. But what this interleaved training talks about is mixing and matching various techniques and skills, and usually in a game conditioned setting. So his whole philosophy of it was that the brain engages in different parts. This interleaved training is consolidated into areas of the brain with learning higher order motor skills to provide conceptual knowledge. So I think we all know the brain develops back to front. So we get all of the stuff that's developmental in the back, and it goes to the cognitive in the front. So when you're looking at young kids, to get them, so what you're just talking about in positional specific play, kids up until boys like 11, 12, there's no way most of them are going to end up getting it. They're not cognitively there yet. The other part of the brain, the intuition part definitely is, but the cognitive isn't. So what he talked about is how do you deploy a skill in relation to the environment that it's in. So when you take a look at it, we've taught here in Alberta for years that you look at a skill that you want to end up working on with the player. So you go deliberate to random when you're trying to teach them. Then you end up going to putting it into a drill. It might be a little bit game situational. And then you end up putting it into a small area game. And you relate it all. So what Tom was talking about, with his team, trying to find ways to get the players to go to the net is a good example of it. So you're developing the skill, you're putting it in a drill, and then you're actually putting it into a small area game, which the players, and I think we're all starting to understand now, that they want to know why they're doing something. So when they can actually experience it and see it in a game, it makes a lot more sense to them. The other thing that he talked about, and I ran into a couple of my Finn buddies a couple of years ago at the under-17, and their team was exceptional. And when I asked Nico, what they were doing that was different from when I'd been over in previous years, he said same thing. We do deliberate to start with our young and old players, but as soon as they catch on to what it is, everything becomes pressure. And so that's what this fellow talked about yesterday in this interleaved training, is you need to make it challenging as well, to a point where, the players, they can still be successful, but at what level can they be successful at? So at the end of the day, when you're developing all of this, and you take a look, and I sort of do the same thing with a lot of our grassroots programs in Alberta, you're trying to teach coaches that skill development is the most important. And I really like that, Roger, when you started out with, and others have talked about it, what is best for the player. I think most of us, when we see coaches coaching, they're trying to coach a team, not kids. Not sure any of you have ever read the book, The Messiah Method. School in the U.S., soccer school, they're well over 900 average, both male and female, and winning. They've won a number of national championships, Div 3, but they get a lot of Div 1 athletes there. And they go through 8 things that they end up doing as principles. It's a principle-based university, in order to create this winning tradition. And one of them talks about the practice side of things. And it really, when I read the book the first time, I had to read it over a number of times, because they break everything down. So your with and without the puck philosophy, Al, that you talked about, and Roger, you're presenting. Again, I tried to bring to our under-17 level years ago, is the kids need to learn what to do with and without the puck, that support side of it. So I probably said a lot, but I really agree with what you guys are saying. And to me, I wish that not only your side of the fence would listen and learn, but our side as well. We have too many coaches that are old school, and they just do what they're going to do. Run a practice, go on the bench, yell at kids, yell at referees and try to win the game. So it's not developing the game. Anyways, great talk. Thanks, Wally, for giving me a chance to talk for a couple minutes. Appreciate it.
Any more thoughts, Roger, related to the conversations that we've had?
Yeah, I think a couple things, and this is a really